Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, Senior News Editor with Retail Insider. Joining me today is Paige O'Neill, General Manager of CF Market Mall in Calgary. Thanks, Paige, for joining us today.
Thanks, and a belated Merry Christmas.
Yes, belated Merry Christmas to you as well. Let's talk about Christmas, Christmas shopping, and what you guys experienced at Market Mall this year.
I would say leading up to Christmas, from Black Friday forward, the sales have just gotten better and better and better. So, the discount started on Black Friday where we saw lots of crowds out for sure. And then from that time all the way to Boxing Day, the sales just, again, kept getting better and better. And there were a few kind of, door crasher sales on Boxing Day, but not that many this year. So we didn't see a ton of lineups. And hearing from the Chinook Center crew, I would say they had a few more lineups, but again, not the long lineups we've experienced in years past.
Let's talk about the Boxing Day, and I think just even myself personally, going out Christmas shopping before Christmas Day, I could see the sales already in progress, right? Was this
definitely
different this year than past years?
Not really. Over 15 years ago, once retailers started discounting, it's been kind of a tradition since then. So leading up, they continue to get their sales in. The Friday the 23rd was very busy at the shopping centers for sure. Boxing Day, I would say, still surpasses Black Friday for sales. The traffic at Market Mall got not so busy around 8 to 10 a.m., but from about 10 o'clock forward, you started to see the crowds, you started to see the bags. So it was great to see.
Yeah. And so tell me a little bit about, that whole experience about Boxing Day and how it's evolved over the years. I remember walking in, I walked into Market Mall here before Christmas, and I could see on the bay the sign Boxing Day sales on now, or Boxing Week sales on now. How long has that been going on in the industry?
Oh my goodness, that's been going on since I've been in this industry, well over 20 plus years. Traditionally, I remember when people weren't going on sale before Boxing Day, and then it evolved into Black Friday becoming more popular, and that was the kickoff to that sales season. And on Boxing Day, and I would say to the end of January, you're going to see those deep discounts continuing. Because a lot of the retailers are starting to bring their spring merchandise in January, so they're going to be blowing out all their sweaters and Christmas gear. So that's been around for quite some time. It's just, I think it's evolved, and then with online shopping, it's evolved. With COVID, unfortunately, and the pandemic, it's changed a little bit as well.
So when you look at, we're almost done. Well, although this week we'll continue to have sales, but once we hit the new year in January, what is it traditionally like January for people in the shopping center industry like yourself?
It slows down a bit. Everyone's getting ready for their RSP season, and starting to put that money aside. But January is still pretty strong because of those sales, continuing into January and March. And then there's probably a little bit of a lull as that spring merchandise starts to come out. The weather gets better, and people start to spend on outdoor activities or outdoor clothing and the such. So it calms down. Everyone's in that big build up to buy the presents and the such, but it calms down a little bit and then ramps right back up going through spring.
Yeah. What's your feel about Canadian consumers these days, and how they're feeling about spending money?
Well, I think through the pandemic and a lot of people coming back to the shopping centers for that experience you have at a shopping center, that interaction that you have, I think there's sort of that confidence there for some people. Obviously, we still see a lot of masks, but for the retailers themselves, they're skewing their merchandise to make sure that it's affordable. As we all know, you need to have affordability these days because there's a lot of other costs coming at us. But I would say that with new stores coming in and that selection and that cost conscious consumer out there, they're gearing up towards that and making sure that people and their products are still viable options.
And what do you expect, Paige, for the coming year for the retail sector?
I would say again, with the way everything's happening in Canada, I'd be still cautiously optimistic because stores are still coming to Calgary. Stores are still opening new stores. They're still building, they're still renovating. So that optimism with our retail clients, I think will still resonate through 2023.
Mm-hmm. And can you talk a little bit about the shopping center itself? The evolving shopping center out there. I don't know how many years you've been in the industry, Paige, but how has the shopping center changed in that period of time?
Over the last number of years, I've seen a different evolution as to, clothing, apparel was 85% of shopping centers.
Yeah.
And now it's sort of the athleisure section category is huge. And perhaps part of that is the pandemic when we all worked from home for a little bit.
Yeah.
And that athleisure wear coming into the workplace, that's huge coming into the market. For the eyeglass stores are almost as popular as the cell phone stores now.
Yeah.
One of the fun things that I think we're seeing is online retailers transitioning to brick and mortar stores. I think that's pretty exciting because, like, just one example would be Psycho Bunny, an online retailer now starting to move and do stores across Canada, a couple with Cadillac Fairview as well so far, and hopefully we'll see a couple in Calgary. So there's very interesting ways, Allbirds, an online shoe store, starting to open bricks and mortar stores. So I think there's some very exciting online retailers that are looking for that multi-channel and starting to look at different centers across Canada to sell their stuff. So that's exciting, and that's a very interesting market because it can be anyone from, you see them on TikTok to Instagram to whatever it might be. And I see these stores too, so I'm not out of the category yet. But I think that's pretty exciting, and I think we'll see an evolution of online retailers starting to open bricks and mortar stores over the next 5 to 10 years as well.
Okay. What about pop-ups? Do you see more and more of that happening in the shopping center industry, that people, for whatever reason, take up temporary space in malls?
We do. Some come in and test the market. The latest scoop from Vancouver has a couple stores in Calgary. So they're in for a year to 2 years to test the marketplace. And if it translates into a permanent store, that's what we're always looking for. So there's always the pop-ups through Christmas time. You'll see sort of Hickory Farms. You'll see the traditional sort of Christmas stores. But for the most part, yeah, a lot of people will come in and test the market. And if they're viable and they work within Calgary, then you'll see more pop-up stores for sure.
All right, wonderful. Thanks, Paige, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
All right, that was Paige O'Neill, who is General Manager of CF Market Mall in Calgary. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, Senior News Editor with Retail Insider. Thanks for joining us today.